family, thank you for staying tuned for another week of Treats with Isa. I've got a delicious treat to show you today and I hope you prepare it sometime soon. I'm so hungry, I want to get straight to it. It's so good, it's glazing good. Can you guess what it is? A, B, C, D, donuts. Yummy donuts. So let's not wait no longer, let's get straight to it. Our first step is to add 2 cups of flour into the mixing bowl. We will now add 1/4 cup of sugar, followed by 2 teaspoons of yeast and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. We will also need to add 3 tablespoons of butter. So it's now time to mix all the dry ingredients together. We will need a separate mixing bowl, which we're going to use to crack 1 egg inside. We will need to add 1 cup of milk. Our final wet ingredient will be 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. It's now time for a little whisk workout, so whisk, whisk, whisk away. We will now be pouring our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. Using a spatula, we're going to mix this around to form the dough. Placing the spatula to one side, we're going to use our hand to knead the dough. I'm now going to cut out some baking parchment paper and I'm going to place it on my tray. I'll also be taking some flour and I'll be sprinkling some on the parchment paper. So I've got myself a clean surface and I'm now going to sprinkle some flour in order to do some more kneading. The dough can now be transferred onto the surface and you will need a rolling pin for this step because you will need to flatten the dough and continue to knead it some more just to make sure that you have a nice soft dough. This step may take about 5 to 10 minutes. Now let's get creative. Once we have our flat sheet of dough, we can use a plastic cup to make some circles around. You don't necessarily need to have a donut cutter. If you do, that's great, put it to good use. If you don't, use the plastic cup as you can see I'm doing here. And I'm now going to take a cap from a lime bottle. Yes, a lime bottle. Or if you have any other cap anywhere else, feel free to use it. Give it a rinse if you need to. And stick it right in the middle of your circle. To lift this up and take it away from the donut sheet. As you can see, poke it out and place it onto my tray. We can definitely get some more donuts out of this dough, so what we're going to do is gather our dough together, sprinkle some more flour onto the surface and knead our dough some more. We're going to carry out the previous steps again. So again, we're going to use our rolling pin to flatten out the dough and then we're going to make some more donuts. You can continue this step until you have as many donuts as you wish. Alternatively, you can always keep the dough in your fridge to use for another day. I'm going to use a kitchen towel to cover the tray for about 30 minutes to an hour and this will help the donut to double in size. In the meantime, we're going to get started on our glaze. So I'm going to measure 2 cups of icing sugar. Now I really don't want my glaze to be too thick, but at the same time I don't want it to be too thin. So I'm going to measure 1 cup of milk into my mixing bowl. If you do want it to be really thick, then I would say you reduce the measurement of milk and double the amount of icing sugar that you place in there. Now it's time to include one of my favourite ingredients, vanilla extract. I'll be measuring 1 teaspoon in there. I did kind of spill a bit more than 1 teaspoon, but it wasn't too much, so it's okay. It's now time to whisk again. At this point, if you realise that you want your glaze to be much thicker, then you need to add a bit more icing sugar. On a medium to hot oil, the donuts must be fried for about 40 seconds on each side until they're golden brown. Once they've cooled off for about 40 seconds, I would say, I would then place this into the glaze, making sure that I cook this entirely. They're going to be so delicious, I promise you. Dare to be different? Why not add some chocolate sprinkles on top of your glaze? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Okay, do you know what? I'm gonna go straight for this. This is so good. Will you be trying this recipe out? If so, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.